Wonder Woman's costume. After I noticed that this woman was wearing a Wonder Woman costume, I decided to close the bathroom door. And then the next thing that took place in this dream, that I noticed that I was outside, I believe, of the same building, and I noticed that I had a camera in my hand. And this camera was like a rectangular camera, and I noticed also other people in front of me did too, also had cameras in their hands as well. And I just want to say that the sky at this moment was slightly gloomy. It was like grayish light. And then all of a sudden a car pulled up, and this particular car that pulled up had Wonder Woman inside, and she was sitting next to a person that was wearing a Superman uniform. And then all of a sudden the people began to take pictures of these people in a Wonder Woman uniform and in a Superman uniform. I too began to take pictures, but I noticed that my picture bulb that was on top of this rectangular camera I was carrying was taking pictures, but every time I took a picture, the rectangular bulb upon my rectangular camera flashed brighter than the other people that was taking pictures of Superman and Wonder Woman. And these other people became irritated with me, so I decided to unscrew the rectangular bulb off my rectangular camera. And while I was doing this, something told me to look up into the sky. So I looked up into the sky and I noticed around around 6 spheres in the sky, and they were above and they were moving. And as I watched them, I noticed some clouds were coming in. So I began to take multiple pictures of these things in the sky. So the clouds were coming in, and then I noticed there was a man on my right side in the distance. I think he was a doorsman for a particular building that he was standing in front of. And this particular building that I recall, this doorsman, the building I believe he was standing in front of, it might have been a co-op or a condominium. Okay, so after I took my eyes off the man, I looked back up into the sky and I noticed that the clouds completely obscured the 3 or 6 objects in the sky. And then I began to think that those 6 objects might have been just 3 objects, but somehow the glow about these 3 objects, or like spirit objects, was being reflected upon the moon, upon the cloud, where me on Earth was able to think that there's 6 of them, but it was actually 3, and there was 3 this side, and I guess the reflection of the 3 spheres was being reflected on the opposite side. So while I was on the Earth, it appeared to be 6, but I got the impression and the sense that it was actually 3 objects in the sky, and that the clouds was more or less reflecting the 3 objects that were in the sky. And I have a drawing of these 3 objects, and these 3 objects, like I said, must have reflected off the clouds. Okay, here are the 3 objects that I believe have reflected themselves somehow upon the gloomy looking clouds. Okay, so like I said, first it looked like 6, but I found out, well, my intuition was telling me it was actually 3. Okay, here's what they look like. Okay, so like I said, 2 was somewhat half, and 1 was this complete circle, and clouds were just coming in. Okay, the next number in this piece is the number 4. This piece is called Section 10, 1 Metal Fiber Dream, or S10 1MTFD. And the month of August 31st, 2010, I recorded this dream inside my dream book. Today I dreamt that I stood at Ashley Street, and I was in the backyard part of Ashley Street. And the back part of the old house I used to live in was more or less gutted out. Actually, it was gutted out, and I was able to see each floor individually. And I noticed that further back inside the house, it was dark and dingy, and it looked like it was just the whole inside or the back part of the house, inside the house was more or less gutted out. The next thing that took place in this dream was that now I found myself in front of my old home. This time I was on the terrace, and the terrace itself was falling apart. And then I yelled back into the house, the front part of the house, and I yelled and told my mother that the terrace is literally falling off the front part of the house. The next thing that took place in this dream was that now I found myself in some type of lab, some type of office. And in this office I seen a middle-aged black woman, and she was wearing a white, I guess, doctor's coat. And I noticed that there was a drawer in front of me, a dresser. And the black woman stood beside the dresser, and I opened up the top part of the dresser, and I noticed that I seen metal fibers inside. There's a whole bunch of metal fibers inside the top drawer, and these metal fibers were actually coming together, and they was forming a straight vertical line up. And I kind of sensed that these things, when they came together, they were starting to become alive. And then the black lady told me to hurry up and close the drawer, because if I don't, these things will grow taller and they will escape out of the laboratory. Okay, so I immediately closed the drawer, and the metal fibers that were growing taller collapsed, and they all fell into the drawer, and the drawer was closed completely. And then a thought came into my mind that these metal fibers somewhat reminded me of, how would I say, the metal fibers that I seen in the movie starring Keanu Reeves, the movie called The Day That the Earth Stood Still, where these fibers, or whatever these things were in the movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still, were actually going around eating up things, metals and stuff like that. And I also thought about the G.I. Joe movie that came out, I would say, a year and a half ago. And also in this movie, G.I. Joe, there was metal fibers that were sent to the Eiffel Tower in France. And these metal fibers ate up half of the Eiffel Tower. So I believe that these metal fibers were nano little machines, or as they say in the movie G.I. Joe, nanotechnology, little small machines that go after cells, or go into cells, or the molecular cell structure of things and people. So the next thing that took place inside the dream was that once I closed the drawer, the black doctor lady and I decided to walk out of this laboratory, and we walked towards the elevator. And we're going inside the elevator, and I noticed there was a well-dressed black man in the elevator with us. And I sensed that this well-dressed black man was assigned to watch over the black lady, to protect her, to be like security. And then we walked out the building. And then the next thing I noticed that I didn't see the black woman anymore. So the next thing that was shown to me in this dream was that now I see another building in front of me collapsing. Okay, this building might have been the building that the lady doctor and I have exited out of. And then after I seen the building collapse, I sat down, and then I noticed a white man and a white little boy. I suspected the white man and the white little boy were related. I believe the white man was the little boy's father. And the white man handed out to me, or gave me, a fruit roll-up. And he gave me a box of Fruit Loop cereal. Then I awakened from this dream.